Ledell Lee was executed by the state of Arkansas for the 1993 murder of Deborah Reese. Now, 4 years after the state executed him, new evidence has come to light. DNA found on the murder weapon does not match. Again, DNA found on the murder weapon in the year of our Lord 2021 does not match that of Ledell Lee. Lee maintained his innocence from the time of his arrest until his April 2017 execution. Attorney Nina Morrison with the Innocence Project told the Washington Post that newly discovered DNA results proved to be incomplete and partial, but said it was significant and leaves the door open for more findings. When commenting about the case and the new evidence at a press conference about COVID-19 last week, Arkansas Governor Asa Hutchinson, who set the date for Lee's execution, seemed to have a little regret. Here's what he had to say.
Ledell Lee, who was executed 4 years ago, they've now found new DNA of an unknown male on the murder weapon. What's your reaction to that, and how do you feel now about your role in his execution?
Whenever you make tough decisions, whenever you have to carry out the decision of a jury, you realize that it's been reviewed by the Supreme Court at every level. They affirm the convictions, and it's my duty to carry out the law. The evidence, obviously, that was uncovered is inconclusive, and the fact is that the jury found him guilty based on the information that they had.
Ben, I know a lot of times, and first of all, I ain't see no remorse, I ain't see no regret, I ain't hear it. But a lot of times, you've always been calling for the to abolish the death penalty. Yeah. And I just think this is another thing that was created to be against us, to never work for us, period. Yeah. Like it's not easy for us to get opportunities to plead our case. So sometimes your case is open and shut in that first year or that first whatever few years that you have, and you just don't have an opportunity. Like there's no real evidence on you, especially when you're a Black person, and they can automatically say that you killed somebody because it's in your DNA. You're Black, so we have to kill you. And to me, there are a lot of people that probably have been murdered from the death penalty by their states. And then, and then it comes out that they never did anything.
Ooh, can you imagine? Can you imagine not only being accused of doing something that you didn't do, right? But getting arrested for it, sitting in jail, going to trial, being found guilty for something you didn't do. Then get on the day of sentencing, find out that they're going to execute you. So you got to live on death row for years. Like there was, sometimes there's decades between the time you get convicted, sentenced, and executed. So our brother sat for years, every day, realizing that the state was getting ready to execute him for something that he knew he didn't do.
Innocence. Mm-hmm.
All the way to the very end. His last words were that he I'm paraphrasing obviously, but he said that he's saying now, as he has said all along, that he was innocent, and then they executed him. I think and I believe firmly that we have to abolish the death penalty because one, this country doesn't have any moral standing to execute anybody. What like America, the United States of America, tried to sit in the seat of a moral authority enough to take someone else's life. This country that was built on genocide, slavery, murder, lies. You think the United States, any state in the United States of America has the moral authority to execute somebody? Somebody needs to come execute these states. Right? But
they really think they have the moral authority. They believe, like we said last time, they're the same ones be bombing other countries, be singing and having them planes just fly over. I'm proud to be an American. These people really are. Every state will feel like everything that they're doing. They'll use things like the Bible to say this is what's right and think that they have the authority. They have the right to kill and especially by color. You're black, you need to, and then they'll find something in the Bible that has nothing to do with nothing and make it fit. You know what I mean? So this is America. It'll use religion. It'll use, and it'll take the same laws that work for the white people to make sure that it doesn't work for the black people.
Absolutely.
Look at how our voting rights are being stripped from us. They're like, hell no, strip them of their rights once again. We will continue to strip them every single time. So this is what we see. This is the same America. So yes, to see that man claimed and stood on his innocence to the last day, that meant nothing.
Evidence.
That meant not a damn thing to the people who executed him, like Governor Hutchinson. Yeah, and now the evidence, Ben.
But here's the thing. Here's the other part of the story that that I don't know that you mentioned, but they had this evidence before they executed him. They had the DNA before they executed him, and his attorneys tried over and over and over again to get the DNA tested using new techniques that we have in at the time, I believe, 2017, leading up to the execution, but that they did not have in the 90s.
No, that's a big thing to know.
Every single time that they tried, that his attorneys tried to get this DNA evidence tested, the state rejected. They rejected it. And even now, the attorney general there, or I believe it's the attorney general, she spoke last week about this issue, and she was just kind of like, she was furious in her tone, in her demeanor, because she was like, no, the people have already spoken. She was found guilty, and the evidence in the case, blah 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 blah. But she kept denying them the ability to examine this evidence. And so not only does the United States not have the moral authority to execute anybody, it's exactly like you said, Rebecca, when you started this. It is the fact that this country 100% uses this as a tool against black people. Like if the evidence is going to be in our favor, just like Rebecca was saying, if there's a law that could be used in the benefit of black people, they start overturning those laws. Look at the laws that are passing in Georgia and across this country, right? If the evidence that's being brought to the table is something that can exonerate a black person, what do? They say, hey, no, we're satisfied. They were satisfied with not getting the truth. They were satisfied with getting a conviction. And that's exactly why we cannot afford whatsoever to continue the death penalty in this country. Last but not least, they just get it wrong. They not only get it wrong as it pertains to black people, there's been other people who have been executed in this country, and you can't take back executions. But here we are in this country. And the one that gets me the most, I don't know how many of you know the story of George Stinney. He was 14 years old, a little black boy who was found guilty back in 1944, found guilty and executed for killing some white girls. And in 2014, he was exonerated. So at the age of 14, a little boy, he was so small that they had to boost him up in the seat for the electric chair. And they executed him. And 70 years later, they were like, oh, no, he didn't do it.
This is America. That same America, that same one that we were just talking about, that swear they're the best, and the same one that Kamala said doesn't have any. It's not racist.
It's not racist.
This is the same America. So you saying that just fueled my pain for his mother, his community. I don't even know him, but do you understand how connected we are when we see black people die, knowing that there's a high chance, there is a valuable chance that this did not happen, that this person isn't behind the murder, that this person didn't do what the police said they did, or what the neighbor said they did, or what they said they saw. So, but as soon as you're black, like I said, it's in your DNA to do bad things. It's in your DNA to be a thug. It's in your DNA to be a murderer. It's in your DNA to scare people.
Boy.
So a 14-year-old boy who couldn't even... This is what, and we take it back from there. We just go to Emmett Till. Nobody gives a damn. Like, nobody cares. As long as you black, this is it. That's it. You deserve death. And if it's not going to be at the hands of the community, they're going to make it legal. So they created the damn chair.
Yep. So, and now they're all across the country. There are states who are itching for the chance to get back to executing people at the level that they were able to do in previous years. And so, anyway, these are the things that we're fighting against, and the fight continues.